The Joker, Maleficent, Hannibal Lecter, Ted Bundy, and now Cruella de Vil. All villains who have now had major motion pictures made about their origins. But do we really need them? I'm the Bipolar Critic, and I'm here to help you feel better about your opinion about a movie. Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil first appeared on screen in 1961 in Disney's 101 Dalmatians. As the movie's main villain, her entire drive is the inexplicable desire to kidnap and skin the movie's horde of Dalmatians for the sole purpose of making a coat. Sounds psychotic? It is. And I've had a theory for a long time now about movies that give characters like this origin stories, but I'm getting ahead of ourselves. We'll get to that. Something you should know about me before we get started is that I am a huge Disney fan. The parks, the movies, almost all of it, which means I kind of have a weak spot when it comes to being critical of a lot of their properties. Not everything. I can still dislike a lot of their content, but on the whole, I am an easy mark for the House of Mouse, which means I'm going into this movie already super conflicted, but also really excited. I don't want to wait around anymore. So let's go see the movie once and tell me what I thought. You know, I thought this movie was like one of the crazier rides at Disneyland, like the teacups, spinning you around, feeling all out of control, but laughing and enjoying it. And I loved every second. You often hear people call Disney films, even the really good ones, formulaic. And you know what? They're right. But if box office is any indication at all, that's not a bad thing. Let me explain. Critics always want to belittle the concept of the formula, but there's a reason that people like them. Formulae are comfortable to the average moviegoer, and they're comfortable because they're familiar. Even if we're not conscious of it at the time, we still know on some level that the good guys will survive, the lovers will get together in the end. It allows us to relax and enjoy the story we're being told, to enjoy the escapism more. And a good filmmaker, a good storyteller can work within the boundaries of any given formula and not only still entertain you, but surprise you as well. There is a Disney formula, but any formula is really only as good as its components. Now, there are a lot of things that can fall under that list, but there are three big ones that Disney, more often than not, absolutely nails. And that's casting, music, and production design. First of all, the casting. The cast for Cruella, if you didn't already know, is mind-blowing. You've got Emma Stone and Emma Thompson as Cruella and her nemesis, the Baroness. And you've got Mark Strong. It is always a pleasure to see Mark Strong in anything he does. But there are three standout performances, in my opinion, that belong to Joel Fry, Paul Walter Hauser, and John McCrae as Jasper, Horace, and Artie. The three of them give these comedic and heartfelt, pitch-perfect performances that are absolutely the heart and soul of the movie. The second component is music, and I don't think there's anybody watching this that could disagree that Disney is second to none when it comes to music. I mean, just a couple chords from any given Disney song or score can send goosebumps down your arms, make you cry or smile or laugh or feel like a kid again. Disney knows music. But even knowing that, I was not expecting a composite score to work so well. Side note, for those who aren't aware, a composite or compilation score is exactly what it probably sounds like. It's when you use pre-existing popular music to score the majority of a film instead of orchestral original music. Composite scores can run the risk of being incredibly gimmicky and distracting. However, here not only did it work beautifully as the score itself, but using music from the period helped to solidify the world of the movie, which is part of the third thing, the production design. Disney traffics in the fantastical. Whether it's animated movies or live-action movies, Disney knows how to make even the most magical and impossible worlds feel lived in. And Cruella is no different. From the physical locations and sets to the period clothing, the 70s London that is presented to us is drab and real and authentic, which serves to both anchor and accentuate those fantastical elements at the same time. So, in other words, because this London is real, it helps us as the audience buy into the fact that these larger-than-life characters and this story belong in this world. Even the outrageous fashion designs from Cruella and the Baroness seem completely plausible. And something even more interesting is that as Cruella's mental mental state begins to degrade. The camera angles and colors and set designs slowly become more and more unusual, almost as if this world is breaking along with her psyche. Bottom line, I absolutely loved this movie. It was a great origin story. Giving Cruella a background deepens the character, and it even enriches the viewing experience of 101 Dalmatians. And I just don't see why that's such a bad thing. Now wait, I didn't say it was a bad thing. All I said was that I have a theory. Yeah, but I'm you. I know what it is. You don't know. Your review might have actually changed the way I see it on a second viewing. So let's have him go watch the movie a second time and tell me what I thought. This is getting confusing. Well, first of all, I have to agree with myself that there is a Disney formula. However, it's a little bit simpler than he's making it out to be. It's basically one step. Throw money at a thing until it works. Alternatively, throw money at a thing until we need to release it, whether it's good or not. And you can really tell where the money went with this movie. It went all to the production design and the actors, because just like anything else that comes from Disney, this is all one big illusion. They're so busy distracting you with pretty colors and costumes and sets, crazy actors chewing on the scenery, that you don't notice this movie is hollow. It's got no center, no heart. It has no point, no meaning. You could basically call this movie what's black and white and red all over. All it needs for subtext and foreshadowing is putting Dalmatians front and center and constantly putting Cruella in the color red to not so subtly signify that there's something special about her that we're not going to ruin for you here. There are very few things that the three of us agree on, but one of them is that we don't spoil things for people that don't want them spoiled. And there was something else that truly bothered me about this movie, and that was the CGI dogs. Disney has not figured out CGI animals yet. Either that or they still haven't figured out exactly how much money they're supposed to throw at it to make it work. Disney, just a tip from me to you, okay? If you're gonna use real animals, use real animals. If you're gonna use CGI animals, you know what? Just don't use CGI animals, okay? Not until you've figured it out. And definitely do not combine the two. There were moments in this movie where you pasted CGI over a perfectly good, cute, live-action dog. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the goal in putting CG over something that really exists is to make sure that people don't notice that it's CG. Your goal is not to terrify the audience, right? Right? But all that aside, what I really want to talk to you guys about today is fear. Humans have always feared what we don't understand, and some of our scariest, most iconic villains come from that fact. I mean, look at the ones we mentioned earlier: Maleficent, Cruella, the Joker, Michael Myers. We don't understand their motivations, or even if they have any, and that's scary. So when you give a character like that an origin story, a background, you give them a motivation. And when you give them a motivation, not only are they no longer scary, they're not really villains. Cruella's not a villain in this story. She's the anti-hero revenging something horrible that was done to her. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that we don't need these movies. Villains do not need origin story movies because we don't need them to be deep and sympathetic and nuanced. We need them to be scary. That's it. Excuse me. Small point. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything in there about you disliking the movie. What are you talking about? I just gave you an entire list. Oh, come on. You know what I'm trying to say. No, I don't. I was just... Come on. What? You know you wanna... Oh, no. No. I am not like you two. I do not blindly give a pass to shiny castles and mouse ears. I do not enjoy fluff. I stand by my reviews. What I say. That's better. Just as bad as me. I hate you. What am I gonna do with me? You see what I mean about being conflicted? On the one hand, I really do think that movies like this take the teeth out of a good villain. I also think you really shouldn't want to sympathize with characters who want to kill puppies or people. But on the other hand, I really liked this movie. It made me smile, it made me laugh, it made me gasp, it made me dance in my chair to the music. I had fun with it. So yes, I went in conflicted, but the more I really thought about it, the more I kind of realized, we don't have to be. Look, I know that at this point we're all used to the big sweeping cinematic universes that all connect to each other thanks to Star Wars and Marvel, and I guess that means thanks to Disney too. But we don't have to view them that way. Yes, Cruella is a prequel to 101 Dalmatians, so by its very nature, the connective tissue is there. But the interesting thing is that it is also very well self-contained. It doesn't have to connect if you don't want it to. Now, for those who want the movies to connect and don't mind having a little depth to the character, you can view it as a prequel that connects directly into the animated classic. They actually will probably enjoy this movie a lot more. Or you can view it as its own autonomous thing. If you want to preserve the insanity of the character, you can do that and still watch this movie and appreciate it and enjoy it without the two ever meeting. Almost like they exist in two separate universes. Almost like a Disney multiverse. Oh my gosh, I could watch everything differently now. I could watch the live action remakes they made. Oh no, don't say that. What? Why? Because if you say that, they're going to put it in the comments. Yeah, and? And do you remember what happened to him when we watched Beauty and the Beast? Oh, right. You told me we didn't have to watch any more of those. No. Relax. Take it easy. The whole point I was making is that we don't have to if we don't want to. Okay? Oh. Okay. Where'd you get the plushie from? And with that, until next time, I'm the Bipolar Critic, and so am I. And so am I. And we're all going a little mad here.
Cruella de Vil, if she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. To see her is to take a sudden chill. Cruella, she's like a spider waiting for the kill. Look out for Cruella de Vil. At first you think Cruella is a devil, but after time has worn away the shock, you come to realize you've seen her kind of eyes, watching you from underneath a rock. This vampire bat, this inhuman beast, she ought to be locked up and never released. The world was such a wholesome place until Cruella de Vil.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a second outside of the regular video to talk about some things that are important to me. As you know, if you watched the first video, I was diagnosed bipolar late in college, but I've been dealing with it one way or another my whole life. Mental illness and mental health are things that I take very seriously, and I think that we don't need to be ashamed of it or afraid to talk about it. But I also know that it can be hard to find help, and sometimes it can be even harder to ask for help. So if you or anyone you know needs help, there are links in the video description down below to different websites that can help you, and a couple of different phone numbers as well. Don't be afraid to get help. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because things can get better. And no one is really alone. Anyway, that's all for me, and I'll see you guys next time.